to the PM Conclave 2020. It is indeed a pleasure to see so many of us bright and early on a Sunday morning at 9 a.m. no less, all ready to listen to the speakers that are lined up today. To begin with, we would like to just run through a few housekeeping rules. Please keep your mobile phones on silent so that the speakers and the rest of the team is not interrupted while paying attention. The fire exits or the exit signs are next to you all in terms of safety. So if there's any issue that comes up, please note the exits on your right and the left. On that note, I think we would like to start with a lamp lighting ceremony, which signifies the fact that we want our knowledge to be shared as the lamp shares its light across the world. So may I invite Mr. Tejas Sura, the Strategy Oversight Committee Chair and a Director of PMI's 2020 Board of Directors, Mr. Gaurango Banerjee, India Evangelist at Zoho Projects, Mr. Padmanabha Ektal, Professor at Technology Management at Nursi Monji Institute of Management Studies, our PMI India Head, Mr. Srini Srinivas, and above all, our President of PMI Mumbai Chapter, Mr. Bharat. Please come on stage to do the honors. To further keep everyone excited, please note that we've got approximately 30 prizes to be given out today. The first set of prizes are the Jaldi 5. So the first 5 people who came early in the morning today to register at the desk. And these 5 winners are, and I request you to please stand up when your name is called, Dr. Sanjay Butch, Mr. Arun Iyer, Mr. Rajneesh Vaishnav, Mr. Mehul Solanki, and Mr. Rajesh Chaudhar. We also have a quiz contest during the event today, so we'll be asking some very interesting questions, both from a question bank prepared by some of the project managers on the team, as well as some of the questions will be picked up from the speeches. So please do pay attention. Last but not the least, the lanyards that we are wearing. At the end of the event, you can please drop them off, and every single person who returns the lanyard, and in our effort to be eco-friendly, you would receive a prize from the event management team. So without further ado, our first speaker for the morning is Mr. Sabyasachi Sengupta. He is a banker, a TEDx speaker, storyteller, author, as well as a European champion of public speaking. He believes that your family gives you the definition of success. and his family has ingrained the belief in him that success is the ability to give away everything that you have established. That's money, knowledge, ideas, your inspirations, with the belief that you can reestablish it yourself. Let's put our hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for Mr. Sabyasachi Sengupta.
Thank you so much. How do I just put the presentation?
Yes.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Tell me something honestly. If you had received such a beautiful introduction at the very start of the day, how pressured would you feel after that? Sorry? Yes, and you feel like jumping from there, right? But thank you for that glorious introduction. That's really, really sweet. Before I start, it's not the easiest job to be the first speaker because I don't know about you, but I am still in my bed. I'm on holiday right now. Generally, I wake up around 11:30, so this is really midnight for me. So I need to be awake, and you need to help me do that. How many of you feel fully awake right now? Good. Because then I'm ready to do a little fun exercise with you. Now, question, how many of you in this audience know how to clap? Please raise your hand. Yeah. Thank you. Now, the question is, how many different kinds of clapping do you know? Only one? Multiple? So I'm going to teach you different styles of clapping. And my objective is to check how alert you are this morning before I go ahead with my content. So, the first kind of clap is the whole clap. So I want all of you to do your hands like this and clap when I say three. When I say three. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Clearly, you need to be a little more in sync. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Good. Now, the second kind of clap is called the one clap. Flat hands and smash hard. Not now, when I say three. 1, 2, 3. All at one go. 1, 2, 3. Good. And now, I want to see how alert you are. It's 9:15 in the morning, right? So, I want this side of the group, and I divide from here, right in the middle. This side will do the whole clap when I raise my left hand, and this side will do the one clap when I raise my right hand. Clear? Easy peasy? Okay. All at the same time. Wait. So who here doesn't really get the left-right coordination right? Let's do it one more time. In rhythm. No. You need to be a little more alert. One more time. So who knows the song you just created with your claps? So imagine this is what you can do just by sitting and clapping. This is a skill that you all had. You could create music. You could create rhythm just by sitting and clapping. But did you know this a minute before we did this exercise? Some of you maybe. I am musically declined. I didn't know the first time I did it. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. Skills that you already have, but sometimes fail to nurture because you're not aware that these skills are useful and needs nurturing. But to do that, let me start with two things that I want to tell you. I have good news and I have bad news. Which one do you want to hear first? Bad news. Good. Bad news is this can happen to any of us. This is a reality. This can happen to any one of us. Even if you do not lose your job, there's a good chance that your company can take a nosedive and can go bankrupt. We're living in times where large companies are trying to get small and small companies are trying to get big. You want to hear the good news? There is always a plan B that can protect you from this crisis. Now before I start, let me tell you why I really care about this topic. For two reasons. One is a personal reason. And you will know when I show you this date. Anybody knows what happened on this date? Lehman Brothers collapsed. Guess who was working for Lehman Brothers back in those days? Yes, that's correct. I was working for Lehman Brothers, and I will never ever forget that day. I was only 1 year in my career, and I was promised big bonuses, nice cars, fancy lifestyle, and guess what? All came to zero in no time. That day was one of the most difficult days I've seen in the bank. Why? Not for me, but for the environment. I remember people saying things like, I just bought a house. I paid the first installment. Where will I get the money to pay the mortgage? Someone said, I was expecting a bonus because I just made the down payment from my house. I need that bonus money to get this house. Someone said, I just had a baby. Everybody had situations. Everybody had duties, responsibilities. But nobody was prepared for this catastrophe. Now, do you think things changed post-2008? Has that mindset changed? Last year, and now I won't tell you why I started working on this topic. Last year, I took a sabbatical for 3 months. I traveled around the world for 3 months just to explore. And right before going on sabbatical, I remember I speaking to a colleague in the Netherlands. She was around late 50s, like 58, 57. And she was looking very stressed. So I walked up to her and very candidly said, you need a holiday, you need a sabbatical. Go on a holiday for 3 months, go to nice beaches in South Africa, you'll feel better. To my shock, she said, I can't do that. My husband worked in this bank for 30 years. And last year, he was made redundant and he lost his job. And now, he's not young enough to find a job and not old enough to go on pension. And we do not know what to do. Because we have children who needs to go to college, we have our own expenses, and we can't even afford a good holiday together. Sabbatical is out of question. I asked her, but doesn't he have an alternate idea? He can become something, he can become a mentor, he can learn something. She said, well, for 30 years, he did nothing except doing his job. And now he doesn't know anything else. He doesn't even know how to face an interview. He doesn't even know how to write a resume. He doesn't even know what skills he has, because all he has done is work for the bank. Do you recognize this? Maybe not in yourself, in people that you interact with on a daily basis, people you see at work. Now tell me, how do these people react whenever there is a reorganization announced, or there is some changes that's announced, or a new software comes in? What is that feeling? Scared? Sorry? Depression, scared, nervous? They don't want to adapt to change. Why? It comes from one place, fear. And why is that fear? Because you think this is a ploy to get rid of you. And this is universal. Even in Europe, where there is a huge social service, people get unemployment allowances. You cannot fire people easily. You have to pay a huge sum of money. People still do not have a plan B. People still feel that same nervousness every time a reorganization is announced. So that's when I started talking on this topic. And initially I thought, I worked at Lehman Brothers. I have seen crisis. I can write 10 books on this topic. Guess what? I couldn't even write 2 pages because what I have seen is not comparable to what everybody has seen. So what I did is I reached out to people I know in my circle from different industries, from banks, food industry, soft drinks industry, television, politicians, sportsmen, to ask them, what do you think we should do to be ready for any adversity or any crisis if that happens to us at some point in our career? I got mixed bag of answers, various answers. And all I did was group them in a way that is palatable for an audience. Before I go there, I want to bring this to you. This is a study from Randstad. Randstad is one of the biggest recruitment companies in the world, and they classified employment into 4 categories that is existing right now. The first one is the management and leaders. That is the CEOs, CFOs, CROs, all the C-level leaders. The second one is the professionals. That is you, project managers, the analysts, people who are doing change, who are bringing change in organization. The third one is the white collar. What is the white collar? That is back office, marketing, sales. And the last is blue collar, the plumber, the guy who cleans the toilet. Not just them, also life coaches, gym instructor, all these people. Now what Randstad is saying is, what is the change that's going to come up in future? What will happen to the employment trajectory in future? The leaders, number of C leaders will reduce drastically. And this is all because of automation, AI, all these things that's coming in. The number of leaders that we have will reduce. The professionals that we all are will stay, but they need to constantly upgrade. They need to constantly upgrade themselves to every change that's coming in the industry. Otherwise, the moment you stop innovating, the moment you stop upgrading yourself, you fall in the white collar category. And that's the category that's going to take the strongest hit. That is the category where you will see minimal people working. We can already see sales representation, marketing, these are all being automated. Everything is moving in the digital way. And the last is the blue collar. That, what do you think will happen to the blue collars? They will go up. Those professions will go up. They will become more expensive. They will get more structures. They will be more in an organized way. I was very surprised when I came to India this time and I saw an app called Urban, yes, where you can actually order plumber through an app. How awesome is that? 10 years back, we would be running from pillar to post, calling one plumber to the other, not knowing who to contact. Now, these kind of professions will get more organized, more structured, and much more expensive. And not just these professions. Professions like life coaches. Help me remember, people, 20 years back, did you know there is a profession called life coaches existing? Why is it trending so much? I'll tell you that later. But this is an observation I wanted to bring it to you, to tell you that who is at risk and who isn't. Well, the good news is you aren't at risk if you continue to innovate, learn, unlearn, and relearn. And that is the trick. So what are the plan Bs I drew up? That's be connected, have enough people in your network, know the right people at the right time, and know how to use it to find yourself the right opportunities at the right time. Be different. If your profession you are in is you feel is hitting a glass ceiling and there is no way out of it, think out of the box. Look for a profession that you probably have not done in the past, but nurture that. So something like becoming an entrepreneur or becoming a mentor to someone, becoming a consultant. Be diversified. Have more than one source of income. It's very key. We've heard Warren Buffett and everybody say this. Always don't put all eggs in one basket. And the last is be relevant, and that is your skills. We're going to talk about that today. And before I do that, anybody here who has worked for this company? Jet Airways. Jet Airways, fantastic. So I hope in my story I don't come across insensitive to situations you've faced. So my apologies if I do. But what I want to bring across from Jet Airways is, when this crisis happened with Jet Airways last year, many companies actually volunteered to hire people from Jet Airways. And there are, I read in a newspaper that there was SpiceJet and Air India who tried to absorb, who would reserve positions for Jet Airways employees. So that is probably 5% of the total workforce. It's 22,000 people who worked at Jet Airways during its collapse. What happens to the next? What happens to the remaining 90%? A consultant company, a real estate consultant company, and I don't want to name it, intended to hire a lot of people from Jet Airways. But there was a problem. People who worked there a lot were working in that niche of airlines, and they sometimes lacked, some of them transferable skills. A skill that you can move from an airlines company to a real estate company. So that is where the big gap was, transferable skills. Skills that can be used across industries, across sectors. And how often do we pay attention to of working on transferable skills? Have any of you worked consciously on developing transferable skills that you can use in another sector that you're working on? Well, there's a start. There are few people here. You can talk to them how to do that later, but that's a good start. But I want, after this talk, maybe 6 months from now, if this question is thrown at you, you all raise your hand. So that's what I'm going to talk about, some skills, those transferable skills that you can develop that's beyond the core hard skills that we all work on a day-to-day basis. So before we go there, what stops us from having this lifelong learning? What do you think are the major reasons that we stop from learning constantly? Yes? Our commitments. Yes? Sorry, let me hear the lady first. You are in the comfort zone. Yes? Attitude. Yes? Too busy. Yes? Mindset. Yes?
Fear of unknown.
Fear of?
Unknown, like learning new things, what will happen.
Learning new things can be intimidating. Yes? Sorry? Interest. Yes? On the topic, yes? Well, to be fair with you, if you're not interested in the topic, there's no point in learning. Because then you will hit the roadblock very, very soon because you do not have interest. Because a lot of times we are, and this is something I have faced myself when I was in the Netherlands, when in interviews, when my manager asked me, what course you want to do, what interests you, and I had no answers. Because when I worked in India, my manager would choose the courses for me. So I lacked that independent thinking, and even I did courses even though I didn't have interest in it, because I thought they will help me in future. So if you do not have interest in the course, time is precious, we only live once. My advice is, look for a course that interests you. So the first thing I would like to bring to you is a concept called Mount Stupid. Anybody knows what is Mount Stupid? Mount Stupid is a concept where what happens when we learn? How is our trajectory? We learn, we grow. And then what happens? We stop there. We become knowledgeable on a topic enough to talk about it, to debate on it, without understanding the full picture. Have you recognized this in any colleagues that you work with on a day-to-day basis, who knows enough on a topic to debate, argue, and voice, and yet lacks the full picture? Isn't it difficult to argue with such people? Because they think they know it all. Often, youngsters are accused of being on Mount Stupid because they are restless, and they learn something, and they think they have reached the top, and yet they haven't. And that top is called the Mount Stupid. Now, the funny thing is, Mount Stupid is the mountain of knowledge grows. So you may be at the peak of the mountain today, but the mountain is growing. If you do not grow with the mountain, soon you will find yourself in the Mount Stupid point. A classic example was actually in my research, a soft drink company, I can name it, Coca-Cola. In Greece, they said that they had the traditional methods of marketing, and soon they realized they need to move to digital marketing because that is the in thing, that is where most of the attraction, all these things are happening. But the head of marketing there in Coca-Cola Greece was reluctant because they thought that I know more about marketing than anybody else. The digital is going to come and go, but the traditional way of marketing will stay. Without knowing the whole dynamic, maybe the old way of marketing will stay, but the digital was here to stay as well. But without growing, this person was adamant and stubborn on the old point because he knew at some point he was on the top of this pyramid. And before he realized, the mountain grew and he is on Mount Stupid. I have recognized many times in my life that I have ended up in the Mount Stupid. When I'm arguing with my father, for example, that I know better more than him. Anybody has done that to their parents? I'm looking at the students there, like we all do that, right? That's in our DNA. Without knowing the full picture, we argue that we know better, we have the full knowledge. It is something that we need to consciously do that. And not just youngsters, a lot of people also end up being a victim of this. We think we know it all, and we do not need to know. So this constant learning, you have to constantly remind yourself, the world is evolving, we are evolving, and either we grow or we suffer. The next point is, too much rely on facts and numbers. How many of you actually make all your analysis, all your methods, everything that you conclude based on numbers and facts? Question is, how prudent is that? How prudent is that? 50%. Why? Who said 50%? Sorry, I didn't. Why 50%? Yeah. Yes. So a lot of times we've seen people who work a lot with data and facts and a lot of logos often do not recognize that maybe the data is incomplete, maybe the data is misleading. The numbers are correct, but data is misleading because they do not use any other facts and observations. There is a classic case of this called the survivor bias. So there is a story from World War II. World War II, there were these planes that were shot in the wings and in the tail. And when they returned in the base, the scientists or the people who made the planes noticed that the tails and the wings were always badly hit by bullets. So they made an observation calculation that the wings and the tails should be made stronger so that all the bullets that's hit on the sides will no longer hit on the plane and the planes can fly longer, the planes will be fine. Nothing wrong in it, right? So they started building more planes which have stronger wings, stronger tails, so that the bullets do not affect the planes. Is that perfect? Is there anything wrong in that observation? Sorry? Bullet? Exactly. What they ignored was the planes that were analyzed were the planes that actually could come back to the home country, even though they were hit on the tail and the wings. That means that areas are not critical. But when the planes were shot in the engine and in the cockpit, they never made it back to the home base. So they were never part of the analysis. So this is the survivor bias. We often trust numbers and data and also stories from people who actually survived or been there, done that, without knowing that may not be the complete picture. So if we also find ourselves, people who have those rag to riches stories, who have struggled their life, they worked hard, often find themselves in that cocoon, that this is the right way of doing it without realizing they can be misleading or something may be missing. The last thing is humility, and I want to show you a video about that. So this gentleman, as you see, dropped coffee at the entrance. What do you think this gentleman would do? What is the right thing this gentleman should do, rather? Sorry? Yes, absolutely. So you see he dropped the coffee here. It's not very clear. He's dropped the coffee at the very entrance. So what is the thing that this person should do?
Finish coffee, put somewhere in the dustbin and then come.
He should have drank and then he should have passed.
Well, the mistake is done. What now? Do you know who this guy is? Sorry? The Prime Minister of the Netherlands. His name is Mark Rutte. And so the thing that is surprising, and this video went quite viral on social media, because Mark Rutte actually, there was a cleaning lady like next door. Instead of asking this cleaning lady, he takes the room himself and he decides to clean it. And at the end of the video, you'll see that there are people standing there with amazement that the Prime Minister is actually cleaning his own coffee. You can see the excitement. You don't see a Prime Minister cleaning his own coffee every day. So I'm going to stop it because in the interest of time. What I wanted to bring across this is, what do you think is the mindset of a person like this when it comes to learning? Sorry? Humility. And how much do you think humility is essential? So the thing is, this video went viral. This was shared by a lot of my friends saying that how down to earth is the Prime Minister. And when I showed it to my Dutch friends, they said, what's the big deal? You spill your coffee, you clean it. So what if you're the Prime Minister or the King? It's you did the mess, you cleaned it up. Is that something we often see with titles? That we get attached to the titles that we have so much, we get attached to so much to that we sometimes lack humility to do something as basic as that and also learn from someone who's much junior to us. Is that something we recognize? So I'm going to move on faster. Humility is one key factor to that. So let's look at what are the skills that we need to develop to be relevant. First one is, what is your strength? I'll give you a classic story. How many of you were weak in mathematics when you were growing up? And tell me, didn't your parents send you to the mathematics teacher to be better at maths? So when a child is weak in some studies, their parents, their teachers tell them to focus solely on that subject. Is that the right thing to do? A classic story is of a tennis player who was amazing at the front service, but he was very poor at his backhand. His mentor made him practice the service or the front hand. I'm not a big tennis player. All the time, 80% of the time, and the backhand only 20% time. And he was asked, the coach was asked by media, why are you just focusing on his strength? What about his weakness? He gave a simple answer. He will never become great by working on his weakness, but he will become great if he works on his strength. So I maximize his max and minimize his min. I minimize his min so that it does not become a liability. But if I don't work on his strength, he will never become great. Now I want to ask all of you, how many times in the last 5 years have you taken a course on a topic that you're already good at? Very few. And how many of you have taken a course on a topic that you're weak at? More, majority. Why? You will never become great if you work on a topic that you're weak at. You need to work on it so that it doesn't become your liability, but never ignore your strength. Maximize your max and minimize your min. Because if you work on the strength, you will develop a special skill that makes you stand out. And in times of crisis, that is that quality that will help you win. Have you seen this movie? Remember that scene? He learned this skill. It was his strength. He learned this additional skill. He worked on this skill. It's called the crane kick. And when in the end, and the climax of the movie, when his leg was injured, this strength helped him beat his nemesis. The crane kick. We all have a crane kick, a strength that makes us special. But we should nurture that. Otherwise, that strength will be lost. Second thing is social skills. How many of you think social skills are important and relevant? Now, how many of you have in the last 5 years worked on your social skills consciously, without being told, on your own? Very happy to see that. So let me ask you, what are the social skills that you think are most important that needs to be worked on? Sorry? To be patient, yes. Empathy, yes, a very strong one. Empathy. Courtesy.
I would definitely say that not to be reactive, but to be more into the action. Because normally what happens if your team member doesn't do the job what they're expected to, normally you get pushed off or something like that. But I think it's better you just focus, be cool.
So cooperation with others. Social skills is very important when you interact with others. Dice, he's one of my mentors. He was the one who was responsible for nationalizing ABN AMRO with Fortis. What happened is then you had two people applying for the same job. They have identical profiles. So I asked him, how did you choose between two people? And he said, social skills made the difference. Because hard skills can be learned easily. Social skills takes a lot of time to learn. Because you cannot fake empathy. You cannot fake cooperation. You cannot fake how do you feel about someone. You cannot fake your communication skills for too long. These are the skills you develop, groom over the time. And these skills make you stand out. He said something very relevant. Sometimes even the handshake that you do with the person who's walked in to be interviewed makes a difference. How warm that is, how confident they feel. And the last thing is feeling. How many of you know what are the 5 senses that we have? Tell me, what are the 5 senses? Sorry? Can someone pass the mic? Sorry, I'm a little hard on hearing. I had a tough flight.
Audio skills, video skills, chemistry skills, olfactory.
Yes? In a more simple way?
Hear, see.
Yes.
See, hear.
Touch, feel. Now, so these are the 5 senses we have. These are the 5 senses we use to make decisions. These are the 5 senses we use at work. Now tell me which of these can be easily automated by machine? When you see and make a judgment, can that be automated? When you hear and make a judgment, can that be automated? When you touch and make a judgment, can that be automated? Sorry? When you smell and smell is driving a decision, can that be automated? Yes, it can be. When you feel something and work on it, can that be automated? Sorry? Feeling can be automated? How?
That's what I'll be talking about next.
Oh, okay. So till we hear the next talk, let me tell you why I think, and this is my humble opinion, that we still are quite far before feeling can be automated. Let me give you an example. That same study that Randstad had, they think one profession will become a very big profession in future, the profession of a dog groomer. Why? Because a lot of people who love dogs will want to have dogs because we work with machines, more and more machines, so we feel lonely. We want to come home to something that makes us feel loved. What better than a dog? So you want to send your dog, but you have no time to train your dog. So you want to send your dog to someone or some place where they get excellent grooming. With a dog, you can see, you can smell, you can touch, you can hear. But unless you feel what's going on, you cannot be a good dog groomer. Profession. So why does these life coaches, one-on-one life coaches, the therapies, the trainers are becoming more and more important? Because you need to feel the other person. The person may be saying a lot, but you need to really subconsciously feel, consciously feel what this person is talking or actually wanting. Feeling. And again, I'm going to say, it may be automated in future, but that's a long, long time before that can be automated. Now you'll ask me, in my profession, where do I use feeling? I'll give you a classic example of this fantastic master of ceremony that we have today. That's the job, cannot be automated very easily. Because yes, she may have a script that she's reading out from, but she needs to feel the room. She needs to feel the energy. She needs to understand if it's before lunch, after lunch, how you're feeling, if it's raining outside, if it's sunny outside, who needs coffee, and react to stimulate you all to get you in the good mood. And in my opinion, that's not a job that can be easily automated. I'm really eager to hear your opinion on that as well. Yes?
Cannot be automated because it has something to do with your past experience. See, like where you have been, what environment, all that is linked with it.
Sorry?
Feeling cannot be automated because it is something to do with your past experiences. For example, right now I am feeling cold because maybe I have not experienced a very cold atmosphere. Maybe I am feeling hot because I have not experienced that type of environment.
Absolutely. And if I'm interacting with you, but now I don't feel you because I'm very far from you. But if I'm interacting with you one-on-one, the way you're sitting, the way you're looking, the way you are closing yourself, by that I will feel what's going on. Maybe I won't be 100% accurate, but I will come as close as I can to a conclusion. And based on that, I will make the next opinion, next judgment.
Unless you capture the experience, you won't be able to automate the field.
Sorry?
Unless you capture the experience, past experience.
Yes. If you can, every job from parenting to kindergarten, could you send your children to a kindergarten which is managed by robots? Because you need to really feel what the child wants. The child can cry 10 different ways, but you need to feel what it actually wants before you... right now, I see her taking notes. Now I'm feeling she's writing for me. That's a feeling. I don't think if I was a robot, I could have easily done that.
And also what I feel is,
Yes.
when you feel it comes from the heart and it comes from the brain. So there has to be a synchronization.
Yes.
So with the robots, they won't be having the heart, or even might be the brain might be functioned, but the feeling of the thought which comes from the
Yes.
heart is missing.
Absolutely. 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 But the more tricky question is, how do you introduce that feeling in your job? Your project managers, I'll take the question in a second, quickly wrap it up in 1 minute. How do you introduce that feeling in your job? Yes, you can introduce your feeling when you're talking to a loved one, with your child, with your dog even. How do you introduce that feeling in your job? How do you keep that element in your work? What I do, I can speak for that. I engage in a lot of one-on-one conversation and not always take everything that is said or what I see. Sometimes you need to feel. What you deliver, we always customize it, but also personalize it. Give that touch. And with the feeling what this person may be wanting and is not always able to say. Make sense? So, I'm going to quickly move on then to this last slide because I want to take some questions. I read an article in Economist that said that the next recession could be here in 400 days. And that means all of us could be affected with that much faster than anything else. The question is, how prepared are we? And do we have a plan B to survive these kind of situations? And now that I've scared you all, I would love to take some questions. I have still 8 minutes. Anybody wants to throw some questions at me? Yes. And can somebody help me with the microphone?
So I can see that this can very much happen because no matter how much technology we advance, but still we cannot defeat nature. And if you see the current situation in China, the coronavirus, I think the way it is going to get out of control, I think that can create a huge recession.
So, your question being, sorry.
So in terms of preparedness, I think we are not anywhere.
Well, the thing is, there are things that we can be prepared for. Well, the thing is, this roof can right now collapse, we can all die. The thing is, there is the two things. There is uncertainty and there is risk. Uncertainty is this roof falling down, we all die. Risk is something that you can calculate, you can estimate, and you can work on it. You cannot work with uncertainty and things that you do not know. What is happening in China is unfortunate, but that's an uncertainty, and now it's becoming a risk when you see what are the trouble how the market is collapsing. But we cannot handle uncertainty, we can handle risk and adversity.
Hi,
Hello.
good morning. I'm Ajay. My
Ajay.
question is again linked to the automation part, what we just thought. So I just read a study that organizations have started investing with the plethora of technology and automation coming. So a lot of focus will be on HR team and like chief people officer, chief empathy officer. These would be the designations and the roles coming up in the next. So more from that human touch point of view.
I can tell you what happens in my company. Yes, we have reduced the headcount drastically because a lot has been automated. In the Netherlands, we do not even have retail branches as a bank. Everything is through digital. Everything is done through apps. But whatever remaining employees we have, we want to keep them in good mind, good health. That's why I was given a sabbatical. We're told to have a good balance so that it is not fun. For a lot of people, including myself, the socialness of working is very important. I love that energy. And the lack of it, the paucity of that can cause frustrations. So the organizations are constantly trying to have fun activities introduced, team events, to create a good jovial environment so that the ones that are staying back are staying happy. Gentleman, there is a question. Yes.
My question is related to the topic which you mentioned last on the feelings part of it.
Yes.
Now we are more and more working in very distributed teams across geographies, across time zones. Most
Yeah.
of the colleagues we only over phone calls or we meet actually. So in that kind of scenario, how do we manage something like working with feelings or understanding the feelings? It's more difficult because it's just voice, at the most it's a video.
Yeah. Sometimes you can feel what this other person is feeling just by looking at an email. Have we not always sometimes read an email and concluded this person must be very angry? Oh, this person looks very happy by just mere choice of words. So to feel someone's emotion, what this person is feeling, you do not always need a face-to-face conversation. Just email or hearing this person out, whether how the energy is, if he's speaking, he or she is speaking fast, slow. And also having a little bit of chit-chatting, I know this is a big problem these days where companies are cutting costs. So you miss face-to-face conversation. You are always having conversation on the phone. But do not miss out on this first 30 seconds where you ask this person how your day was, how you're feeling. How often do we ask that, how are you feeling? And when someone asks you how you're feeling, do you give one-word answers? I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling good. You're closing the door to exchange of feelings when you give one-word answers like that. Say few words, strike a conversation, get into a personal touch. That's when you can understand the feeling and can customize and personalize your work based on that.
Just one question, this idea.
Sorry, where?
Last question. No?
To your right.
To my right, yes.
Hello.
Hi.
The question is very simple. You said we should have a plan B.
Yes.
You said that the thing that we need to get into is know people's feelings or to go ahead with that. Mm-hmm. So all the rest of the senses are to do with hard motor skills and hard activity. So if you say we are going to have a plan B, is it to do with feelings only? If it is to do with feelings, what you are saying now actually says that feelings have to percolate across all streams everywhere. So what is the plan B? What is it to do with feelings?
If I correctly understand, you're asking if feeling is the only plan B that you should have?
No, I'm saying that is the one place where we cannot automate.
Yes.
That's the reason we have to have feeling, or we have to learn your social skills, and you have to transform yourself to be able to handle the other areas.
Yes.
So what is the plan B? Basically, everything is plan A with additional social skills.
Well, plan B does not always mean that you should change your field of work. You should change your job. You should stop doing what you're doing and do something drastically different. Doing exactly what you're doing little differently can also be plan B. Plan B does not mean, a lot of people have actually that misunderstanding that plan B means just change your job or change your profession. Plan B could also be doing the same thing little differently. That's also a plan B. It's an alternate approach to way of working or to your career, but it's an alternate approach and depends on your situation. So part of my research on the book is, I mentioned 4 plan Bs, is that during what situation people choose what kind of plan Bs. And the crisis that we humans face are kind of 4-folds. Personal, your colleagues and your manager, your company and the management, and sector and economy. And we have seen a lot of times when issues are your personal, when you feel you're not getting promotion or your colleague is getting promotion or your manager gives you bad rating or you're feeling stuck, that's when you feel the need to upgrade your skills or work on your skills. Whereas when economy is not doing good, now we all just spoke about China and coronavirus, that can have that economic impact can have a ripple effect on India and on your jobs. But does that make you want to do something differently or have a plan B because there could be potential impact on us? What I found in my research is we always upgrade our skills when we feel the impact directly, when we feel we are stuck, we are not moving anywhere. Less when your company is making loss, when less your sector is doing bad, when your company is in the news, we are less working on ourselves. We then jump jobs, but less work on ourselves. So let me repeat, plan B does not mean jump your job, change your jobs, do something drastic. Plan B can also mean something, a small step a small step and a slightly different way of working than what you were doing. Maybe just tomorrow when you go back to work, start feeling the room, start feeling how you're doing your work. That could already be a different plan B that you're working on. In the interest of time, just less than 1 minute, I will have to close this now. I will love to share my details. Please feel free to connect with me on the LinkedIn. My book is still not ready on the plan B, hopefully June. I'm working on it. But please feel free to be connected. And it's all about sharing whatever I know and whatever you know with each other so we can be ready. Like I said, economic crisis could be in 400 days. And we need to work together and we need to work on it today. Because something I really believe in is if you sweat more during peacetime, you will bleed less during wartime. Thank you so much.
So maximize your max, minimize your min. That's something I'm going to remember. May I please call upon Mr. Girish Kadam, our region mentor, to kindly felicitate Mr. Sabyasachi Sengupta for his empowering speech today. Okay, so who's all excited and revved up? No one? Well, I am. So may I please request Mr. Bhagat, President of our PMI Mumbai chapter, to kindly grace us with a few words.
Yeah. Good morning. Good morning to all of you. I'm just here for maximum 1 minute, 59 seconds. I already consumed 3 seconds. I welcome you all this bright, young, fresh, not so sunny morning. Welcome, Sir Sridhi Srinivasan, our PMI head, India head, our PMI director, Tejas Sura, and our Dr. Padmanabhan, sir. Sabyasachi sir has just went away. Then we have Mr. Banerjee from Zoho. Our next speaker, Miss Advocate Anand, I just missed the name, Napial Singh. My board members. It's Napilal. Yeah, Napilal sir. My board members, my sponsors here, all audience, along with my special invitees and guests. I welcome you all this thing. And let me tell you a simple thing. What is Vision 2020? The idea has come up from our national conference at Hyderabad. We are in 2020. And what is Vision 2020? The person, or it is related to eye vision, that I am having a SPACT. But what is when you go to the doctor for eye specialist, and then I'll find out your eye power, then they will give you 6 by 6, 6 by n. What is that? It says a person can see visibly very clear at a distance of 20 feet, and his vision is 20 feet or 20 meters. That measurements are there. And that 2020 we are trying to achieve, not by just eye vision, but our inner vision to go ahead in the new technology and new era with this thing. We want to reform it. We want to perform it, and then we want to transform it. That inspiration has come from the lecture from our Vice President at Hyderabad. Who knows the name? Huh? Mr. Venkaiah Naidu. We should be proud of our Vice President's name and President names. I have already documented here, but I am not reading it. I have documented everything, but I am not reading it, but I know what to talk. Now, this inspiration has come. For this vision, the government of India wants to achieve 5 trillion economy. Are we ready for that? I am not sure. At least personally, I am not sure. But for that, what are the 10 top jobs coming in next 2020? I have listed it here, that 10 2020 job coming in. in 10 top job coming in next 2020 or another 5 years to come. He says, first is, you have, my question is, I am not going to ask, are you prepared? No. We have to be ready for this, then we can prepare for this. There is nothing like recession. The whole periods always is changing, ups and down. So the first job, I mean, there is nothing like important, what is the first job or second job. The first, he says, blockchain developer. It's nothing to do with the IT. Let me tell you one thing. It's all mixed masala. Not only for IT. Blockchain developer, artificial intelligence specialist, JavaScript developer, then robotic process automated consultant. Now it's talking of consultant, not robotic. And then it talks of back-end developer. There is nothing like front-end developer now. Those days are gone. When we were the front-end developer, facing the customer directly. And bahut gali sunta tha, upar gaya idhar. And then the growth manager. This is something new that is going to come. Not like development manager or customer customer support, nothing like that. There is a growth manager. Then there is going to be a site reliability engineer. Then there is going to be a customer success specialist. And the next one, full scale sales engineer. There is nothing like sales engineer. The additional words, full sales engineer, and then comes robotic engineer software. It's not just robotic engineer software. Are we ready for this? We have to prepare for this. And then for this, we have got a battery of 10 speakers here with a sort of stripe. One speaker, Mr. Sabyasachi, you already heard. The next one, our lady advocate is there with you. Then there is another, we will have Mr. Ajit Rego as well, who is an inspirational music director, inspirational speaker. Then we are going to have another last one. Ashish Rego is there. Then there is Ajit Nayak is there. Then you have in your bag given to you, or in front of us, we have already given agenda this time. I hope you will, the people who are not attending or missing will repent each and every session. So I request you to see that till the end at 6 o'clock, till we go for Sanagana Mana, see that you listen everything, and I welcome you on this thing, and you will see that, yes, your time spent is worthwhile here. Thank you very much.